Okay, quick rundown. I didn't do any streaming today, but honestly today was would have been a great day for streaming because we had a pretty big change. We went from explicit CSS styling, and we had at some point 11,000 lines of CSS that was just ever growing, and it was hard for the AI, the LLM, to reason about. And we ended up getting rid of that in this commit. I think as you can see here, I got rid of 12,500 lines out of 4,000 lines, and we substituted that for Tailwind CSS, which for the longest time I was always apprehensive against because because it's very verbose, and I realized that there's like a big trade-off to be made, being you can have like coupling, or you can have verbosity. And honestly, I was very sick of this coupling that made it very difficult to reason about the styling of things. It did allow for cohesion a lot easier because like the rules that you define can encompass all of the components in the codebase, right? So it's easy to create like all-encompassing rules, but like at the end of the day, that seems to be, I don't know, given the structure of CSS or the unstructured, it's a fucking shit show to reason about, and you create these like just very complex structures that like you just can't reason about it, right? So, and the other sort of it was for my own sanity, but the main purpose was because Taishi wanted to implement his own. Taishi wanted to implement he wanted to change the design, right? And I told him, like, look, it's too hard to change it. Even with the LLM, it's too hard. And then that's when I realized, like, that's so ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Right? So we should, despite the sort of benefit of a system that might be more cohesive, if you can't reason about it, then it's actually not worth anything. So I'm actually recently more in favor of structures that are able to be reasoned about, especially in a setting where you're working with multiple people, because, like, I don't know, it sounds like obvious, right? But if, like, you need everyone to be on the same page, and you need everyone to be able to push. You want it to be frictionless, right? Well, without like sacrificing quality, right? And the thing is, like, the Tailwind CSS is completely verbose. You don't lose anything that you would get with CSS. In fact, it seems so far that you only gain things with it. Obviously, except for like cohesion, but it's actually really easy to reason about. Like, it's really easy to just say like oh, run an agent to go around the code base and look for discontinuity, right? And it's like, that's a lot easier to say than fix all the broken styles in the code base, given like the CSS as a source of truth, and like you have all these like aliases and things like overriding each other, and like there aren't even like packages that really, there aren't even like tools, it seems, that like warn against these bad stylings. So I was like, okay, forget this headache, and let's just switch to Tailwind CSS and just see how it is. And Like I've been on Tailwind before, and I don't know. I just didn't stick to it. Like I don't know. Like the ideal for me was like, okay, like we can just define some styles in a CSS file, and like that can, if as long as I can encapsulate that in my head, like there's no reason to have anything more than that. There's no need to be like hyper explicit. But actually, there is a very great benefit to co-locating details with like co-location is just really great, and like you don't get that with CSS stylings, because it's like oh, here's this thing right in front of your face, and this is being described by something that's not in front of your face, right? Whereas with Tailwind, it's more or less everything is in front of your face, including the code and the style like are the same thing, right? Like I think kind of like the analogy to this is like writing C code and like knowing what the assembly is going to look like. So I'd say this is actually more or less the right way of doing things in a web development. I'm not going to say that, because like nothing is really right about the web, but this seems to be a more proper way of doing things than otherwise. So we're going to stick to this probably for future projects as well. And obviously, like the LM is just going to get better at these things. So like this is fine. And at the end of the day, we got rid of like 11,000 lines of code, or we subtracted 7,000 lines of code or something, 8,000 lines of code from the code base. So there seems to be a net benefit at the current moment, and actually will probably continue to be that way unless you get to like a Google-sized code base where like they have web pages that look like they're from 2006. If you look hard enough, there are Google pages that have never been updated. Like that's the only thing that I didn't want, but honestly, that's probably never gonna be a concern for us. So, yeah, this is great. So Taishi ended up implementing his page. Not in Tailwind, because during that time I hadn't actually during that time I was still transitioning the page from CSS CSS styles to Tailwind. I don't even know if that's a terminology. CSS styles and Tailwind. Are those things even orthogonal? Not really. Like CSS Tailwind. I just say that. I think people get what I mean. But yeah, Taishi had done the page. This is what it looks like at the moment. But it's yeah. I mean, this is pretty cool, right? I mean, there's some missing logos and stuff because I guess he didn't push the images, but that's fine. I'll get those, and I made a note of it. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get this all pushed. I mean, I'm just gonna fucking push this live. I don't really care. It's fucking fine. And yeah, so actually I also made this because I feel really good about this product now. Honestly, like I was most worried about styling. I was pretty much on edge about styling. Like I was like, okay, the only reason that this website isn't going to succeed is because it looks ugly, because like it's so fucking difficult styling the goddamn thing. And at this point, after fixing this, I don't see any other obstacles, and I really think that we have a really good position in this market, and I think this is going to change my life moving forward. Change my peers' life, change our lives, and change Hiroshima as well. So I'm really looking forward to this. It's fucking 3 a.m. I've been bulking up. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but I've gained some weight. And yeah, so I'm feeling really good about this. yeah, this is actually the confidence that I needed for a while, because I was pretty unsure, to be honest. I was unsure. Now I'm pretty certain that this is gonna be great. This is gonna be fantastic. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Like I'm not a web programmer, right? I have a background in game development, and I was so like, yeah, it kind of makes sense that I was uncertain about some things, but you know, I gained some security after discovering that Claude can do all this shit that I would never do a single keystroke for, because I do not want to pollute my brain with this web development stuff. But I'm finding that it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad if you limit yourself. Otherwise, it's terrible. It's awful. It's worse. It's worse than what people say. It's worse than what Casey Muratori said about CSS styling. That's all totally true. It's fucking bad. But there are ways to there are principled solutions to these things. And it just, at the end of the day, it just involves cutting down things into primitives and working with that. And if you do anything more complex than that, then the reasoning structures just get way too complex. And yeah, so I feel like I'm in a very, very good position. I feel like I've came to understand how to leverage LLMs and leverage the rules that I've created for making whatever you call these, like a SaaS or these websites, these that will hopefully become products. And yeah, I guess we'll see what challenges are ahead. I'm definitely looking forward to having getting another person or two people working on this at the same time. And honestly, don't expect them to really know what they're doing. As long as they're not touching the back end, I'm fucking fine with it. They can just it seems to be very well decoupled with the artistic side, and the artistic side seems to be well decoupled with the database. And as long as they're running the code validation stuff, then there should be no reason that they can't just implement a new feature and it just it should just work. So feeling really good about this. I'm tired. I'm gonna sleep. And yeah, that's cool. So I'm actually not gonna push this yet because we've got some things to do. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video. So yeah. Bye-bye.